On May the 2nd, 1890, the Football League elected Sunderland Football Club to join their ranks, and so began a turbulent 100 years that was to see them win the First Division Championship 6 times, become Second Division champions once, and Third Division champions once. They also won the FA Cup twice, and yet, despite all this, there were periods of total frustration and despair. So it was only fitting that Sunderland should begin their centenary year where they belong, in the First Division. And what better way to start their home campaign than to meet Tottenham Hotspur, a team parading two of the year's outstanding World Cup players, Paul Gascoigne, a former Newcastle United hero, and striker Gary Lineker. But it was Sunderland who were to prove the better side on the day, and they were unlucky to take only a point in a goalless draw.
Kevin Ball strokes the ball forward to Gabbiadini. Back towards Gary Owers. Owers it is. Oh, that was a brilliant save. Owers should well have scored there, but equally it was a good save by the goalkeeper. Over it comes. Oh, and another save. This time, I think, off the chest of the goalkeeper. Sunderland on the attack. Gabbiadini. Kay up with him. Gabbiadini still going. Kay takes over. Kay! Gabbiadini! Gabbiadini! No! The referee has ruled it out. Under pressure from Mabbott. The clearance by Gascoigne. But Bennett keeping Lineker away from the ball. And then just pushing the ball into space for Agboola. Now Bracewell. Some quality defending by Sunderland tonight. And Gary Bennett stands out in that respect, although he's not alone. Cullen. Taking on Van Houw. Van Houw gets his foot there. Kay in support. It's back with Kay. Inside, wants the 1-2. It's played. Pulled back for Gabbiadini. Davenport. And somehow Spurs get that ball away. Gascoigne. Lineker, clever back heel, back to Gascoigne. Lineker going with Gascoigne, but a good interception by Bennett. But Spurs still have possession. It's Najim. Gascoigne. Bergson. Bergson on a good run. Keeps going. He's through, and a good save by Norman. 45 minutes are up. A look at the watch. The play goes on. Armstrong's play, an important one. He found Gabbiadini. Davenport. Gabbiadini tries a shot. It's past the goalkeeper, but also past the post.
But it was not at Roker Park that Sunderland began their league career on September the 13th, 1890. It was at their then ground here, just off Newcastle Road, a couple of miles away. Then it was one of the best grounds in the country. Now, it's a housing estate. That very first game was against Burnley, a team only in the league by virtue of re-election. Sunderland were expected to win. Sadly, they lost 3-2. At the end of the season, they finished 7th, the only time in their first 6 seasons that they were to finish outside the top 5 places. In fact, for the next 4 seasons, the club was to prove almost unbeatable. In 1891-92, they finished 5 points clear of the second club, Preston North End, and scored 93 goals in only 26 games. That season also saw them win 13 consecutive matches between November the 14th and April the 2nd. This still stands as a club record. During that purple patch, they scored 50 goals and conceded only 11. Top scorer was Johnny Campbell, who joined the club in the close season from Scottish club Renton. He scored 28 goals in the league and a further 6 in the cup, in which the club reached the semi-finals. They went down to Aston Villa, a club that was to jinx them in the cup on many more occasions. The following season was equally good, with the club again taking the league title. This was the season, incidentally, when the second division came into being. Promotion and relegation to be decided by a series of test matches between the bottom 2 in the first and the top 2 in the second. No worries for Sunderland, who became the first club to score 100 league goals in a season. losing only 4 of their 30 games. Once again, Johnny Campbell was top scorer with 28. Some of the results during that great season would make most modern fans green with envy. It included a 6-1 away win and a 6-0 home success against arch-rivals Aston Villa, an 8-1 home victory over West Brom, and 11 goals with no reply in their 2 matches against Newton Heath. By Sunderland standards, the following year was almost an anticlimax. They had to be content with a runners-up spot, the title going to who else but Aston Villa, who also beat them yet again in the Cup. During that season, Teddy Doig made 108 consecutive appearances in goal before the run was ended. In 14 seasons, Doig made 456 league and cup appearances. He was the first in a long line of superb keepers, including Albert McElroy, who made 227 league and cup appearances in the 20s, Johnny Mapson, who spanned 3 decades from the 30s to the 50s with 385 appearances, and of course Jim Montgomery, who made an incredible 623 appearances in the 60s and 70s, still a club record for any player. In 1894-95, the title came back to Wearside for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. Aston Villa finished only 3rd and Liverpool were relegated. This was the season that also saw them beat Fairfield 11-1 in the FA Cup. To this day, still their best performance in this competition. 5 of the goals were scored by inside right Jimmy Miller. The following 2 seasons saw a turnaround in fortunes, with the club finishing 5th in 1895-96, and the following season having to suffer the indignity of having to take part in the playoff series to avoid relegation. All hinged on the last match against Newton Heath. Thankfully, 2 goals by outside right James Gillespie saved the day. In 1897-98, Sunderland regained their momentum and finished runners-up to Sheffield United. It also saw the last match at the Newcastle Road Ground, in which, on April the 23rd, the last game of the season, they defeated Nottingham Forest 4-0. So it was on September the 10th, 1898, that the club moved to its present ground at Roker Park. It was officially opened by the Marquis of Londonderry, and Sunderland obliged by beating Liverpool 1-0. A crowd of 30,000 saw inside right Jim Leslie score that only goal. This 1898-99 season also saw the first league clash with neighbours Newcastle United, who'd been promoted from the 2nd Division. 30,000 people turned out on Christmas Eve for this first derby, and it was a real thriller, with Newcastle winning 3-2. Both Sunderland goals were scored by Leslie. However, in the return fixture at St James's Park, Sunderland gained revenge with a 1-0 victory, the goal coming from McClatchy. At the end of the season, Sunderland finished 7th, 6 places higher than Newcastle. The 1899-1900 season started well for Sunderland, winning 8 and drawing 1 of their first 11 games. However, they had to be content with 3rd place behind Aston Villa and Sheffield United. Nevertheless, in their first 10 seasons, they'd been champions 3 times, runners-up twice, and 3rd once. They'd also defied relegation once. The following season saw them go 1 better than the last, finishing as runners-up to Liverpool. Indeed, Sunderland lost only 6 times all season. It was also the season which saw the away fixture at Newcastle on Good Friday having to be called off when 70,000 people tried to crush into the ground, making play impossible. Sunderland's 4th title came in 1901-02, despite the fact that they only scored 50 goals. Top scorers that season were Billy Hogg and Jimmy Gemmell, with 10 apiece. The following season saw Sunderland deprived of their 5th title by Newcastle. They needed to beat United in the last match of the season at St James's, but lost 1-0 and had to be content with 3rd place. The following 5 seasons were less than memorable, with the club finishing 6th, 5th, 14th, 10th and 16th respectively. In 1904, Sunderland were involved in the country's first £500 transfer deal when they signed Alf Common from Sheffield for £520. A year later, Common was sold to Middlesbrough as the first £1,000 player. He only made 23 league and cup appearances, scoring 7 goals. The next real milestone in the club's history came in 1908-09. It was the season when they not only did the double over Newcastle, but in doing so set up their highest away victory, a record which still stands to this day. They beat United 9-1 at St James's. Billy Hogg and George Holly both hit hat-tricks, Arthur Bridget scored 2, and Jackie Mordew completed the scoring. And yet at half-time, the score had only been 1-1. This was ironic as Newcastle went on to win the title, and Sunderland had to be content with third place. It was also ironic that in the same season they set their away record win, they also suffered their worst ever away defeat, beaten 8-1 at Blackburn. The next 2 seasons saw them finish 8th and 3rd, but it was also during the 1910-11 season that Charlie Buchan was signed from Leyton for £1,200. In his 10 seasons with the club, Buchan was leading scorer 7 times and scored a total of 224 league and cup goals. He would undoubtedly have scored many more if it hadn't been for the enforced break of 5 years in league football due to World War I. Charlie eventually left in 1925 when he was transferred to Arsenal in a strange but what proved to be a lucrative deal for Sunderland. The London club, who felt Buchan might be past his best, would only pay a £2,000 fee, but they did agree to pay a further £100 for every goal he scored during the season. Charlie obliged with 21, which meant Sunderland received altogether a grand total of £4,100. Perhaps Sunderland's most successful season was in 1912-13, when they gained their 5th league title, and in amassing 54 points, this in the days when a win only counted 2 points, beat the existing record for a league championship. And this despite taking only 2 points from their first 7 games. Victories included a double over Liverpool with a 7-0 home win in which Buchan scored 5, and a 5-0 away victory in which Buchan got a hat-trick. In the same season, Sunderland were to reach their first FA Cup final. In the quarter-final of the competition, they'd beaten Newcastle, but only after a terrific battle that needed 3 matches to get a decider.
This old film recalls that second replay when Sunderland scored 3 goals to put their rivals out of the running. In the words of an eyewitness, they played like men possessed.
In the final, however, in front of a crowd of over 120,000 at Crystal Palace, they lost 1-0 yet again to bogey team Aston Villa. Many people who travelled south failed to get into the ground. After that, Sunderland had no further successes up to the outbreak of World War I. In 1919-20, the first season after the war, the club finished 5th. The title went to West Brom. In 1925, when Buchan went to Arsenal, he was replaced by a great left-footed player called Dave Holliday, who was bought from Dundee. In 166 league outings for the club, Holliday scored 153 goals, plus a further 9 goals in 9 outings in the cup. A goal by Holliday helped the club avoid relegation in 1927-28 by beating Middlesbrough 3-0 away in the last match of the season. Holliday still holds the club record for the most goals in a season, 43 in 42 matches. This included 4 in one game and a further 3 hat-tricks in the 1928-29 season, in which the club finished 4th. He was transferred to Arsenal the following season for £6,000. Bob Gurney was to take over as leading scorer on Holliday's departure. Altogether, he scored 228 goals, making him to this day Sunderland's all-time top scorer. He scored in Sunderland's opening match of their great 1935-36 season at Arsenal, although they lost 3-1.
Soccer again, and the league teams come out to throw their thousands of supporters, nearly 1 million of them all over the country, and about 70,000 at Highbury to see the Arsenal, last year's champions, play last year's runners-up Sunderland in striped shirts. It's good to see the great game in full swing once more, and the Arsenal supporters in particular have a grand afternoon. The home side makes only one mistake, when Sunderland opened the score with a goal by Gurney early in the first half. After this, the Arsenal play like the champions they are, and give the Sunderland defence a most uncomfortable time. 2 of their 3 goals are scored in the first half, Drake netting the equaliser. Now the Arsenal have it all their own way and keep up a continuous pressure. Bastin puts them ahead, and most of the crowd realises that soccer has really begun.
Despite losing that opening game, Sunderland went on to clinch the title for the 6th time, 8 points clear of runners-up Derby County. They also scored 109 goals, 20 more than any other club, and to this day a club record. This broke Arsenal's run of 3 consecutive titles, and the home game between these clubs, which Sunderland won 5-4, has regularly been described as one of the best matches ever seen at Roker Park. They were presented with the League Championship trophy at Roker Park on April the 15th, after beating Huddersfield 4-3. During the season, Gurney scored 31 times, but that same number of goals was also scored by another player who was to become a club legend, Rach Carter. Carter had made his debut for the club in 1932, and in his 8 seasons with them, he made 279 appearances and scored 130 goals in league and cup. But perhaps Carter's finest moment came in 1937, when he skippered the club to their first FA Cup, a trophy that had eluded them for 53 years. It was a wedding present for Rach, who just got married in the week leading up to the final, in which they beat Preston 3-1 at Wembley.
The coaches that have brought the fans from the north are a strange sight in a London hit by a bus strike, but these supporters don't mind walking to Wembley. The final is more than a game of football, it's an occasion, and rivalries are forgotten as the huge crowd sings the traditional Abide With Me. The royal couple arrive at the stadium and they bring a guest with them, King Farouk of Egypt. Wonder which side he'll be shouting for. This is indeed a royal final. Here come the teams that have battled their way through those tense early rounds to be within 90 minutes of victory. It's a tense time for them, but they'll never forget this day. Sunderland are introduced to His Majesty by their captain, Horatio Carter. It's a few words of royal congratulation and then on to the game itself. The Preston fans are happy after the first half, no wonder. They've seen O'Donnell put them 1 goal up. The Wearsiders urge their side on, and how well they respond. The wily Burbank wins a corner on the right. Over it comes, and Carter nods it to Gurney, who heads it past Burns. 1-1, and everything to play for now. That's a goal that'll give them something to talk about in the shipyards. And there's more to come. Burbank's lovely pass finds Gurney, who moves it along for his captain, and it's Carter who slams that ball into the net. How's that, Your Majesty? What a game Burbank's having at Wembley. He spots a pass from Gallagher and chases through to make it 3-1, and proud Preston are humbled. The King won't have seen many better finals than this one. Everybody knows it's Sunderland's cup, but they forgot to tell Preston, who keep fighting every step of the way. Both sides have given everything, but the crowd won't let them stop until referee Rudd brings it to an end. It's all over, and the Sunderland side climb to the royal box, where Her Majesty will present the medals. It's Captain Rach Carter who's given the trophy so many teams have tried for. And there's a word from the Queen about Carter's recent marriage. Not a bad wedding present for Mrs. Carter. But now it's a chance for the Sunderland team to show their cheering followers the trophy. What a team! They won the league last year, and now the cup.
The homecoming of the victorious team was delayed until the evening, so that work would not be interrupted. When the team did arrive back in Sunderland, there were thousands out to greet them. At the town hall, they were given a civic welcome by the mayor. Gurney's goal in that final took his all-time tally of cup goals for the club to 23, still a club record. Regretfully, it was in the 4th round of the cup that season, at home to Luton, that another club great, left-winger Jimmy Connor, had his career ended by injury. In 9 seasons, he'd played 284 games and scored 61 goals in league and cup. 2 seasons later, World War II brought an end to first-class football in the country until 1946. The first of Sunderland's post-war heroes was to be Len Shackleton, who in 1948 decided to join the club from Newcastle after a disagreement with the United management. That 12-mile move was to break the hearts of Newcastle supporters, but delight Wearside crowds for the next 10 years. Signed for a then record fee of £20,050, Shaq, who was to be nicknamed the Clown Prince of soccer, was to become the leading post-war goalscorer. A great entertainer, he played 348 league and cup games and scored 102 goals.
Fleming across to Shackleton, number 11. To Elliott. And Shackleton coming through on his own, he must score now. Shackleton this time for Sunderland, taking a little time, but he scores a great goal, a beautifully placed shot.
The 1948-49 season saw one of the biggest shocks in the history of the FA Cup, and Sunderland were on the wrong end of it. In a fourth-round away tie against Southern League club Yeovil Town, they went down after extra time.
Cup fever grips Britain, and Somerset finds itself centre of the footballing world. Giant-killing Yeovil, a team of part-timers who became heroes overnight, made soccer history before an 18,000 record crowd. Having buried a second division team, Yeovil now tackle first division Sunderland, former cup winners and team of proud records. Knowing how the land lies, Yeovil are neither overawed by the occasion nor by Len Shackleton, number 10, football's most expensive player, and not even by the 8-foot slope. The Southerners play fast, open football, and encouraged by a jubilant crowd, go all out to take the sun out of Sunderland. And in the 28th minute, the unbelievable comes true. A well-judged free kick by Stan Hickman sends the ball into the Sunderland goal mouth. It bobs around dangerously, comes loose, and with a quick turn, skipper Alex Stott slams it in.
The following season saw Sunderland come within an ace of their 7th title. In April, with the season almost over, the club was odds-on to take the title, but 3 successive defeats against Middlesbrough, Manchester City and Huddersfield meant Portsmouth taking the title on goal average from Wolverhampton Wanderers, with Sunderland a point behind 3rd. A victory in any of those 3 games would have brought the title to Wearside. Top scorer that season was Dickie Davies, who'd been brought to Sunderland from the Birmingham youth team just before the war started, but he didn't play till 1946. In just over 7 seasons, he scored 79 goals in 154 matches before being transferred to Darlington. In 1950-51, Sunderland again broke the transfer record when they paid Aston Villa £30,000 for Welsh international Trevor Ford. In his home debut, Ford hit a hat-trick in the club's 5-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday. One of his shots even dislodged a goalpost. In the team during that season were 3 current internationals: Ford, Willie Watson, who incidentally also represented England at cricket, and Len Shackleton. Plus 3 internationals to be in Billy Bingham, Tommy Wright and Ivor Broadis. Yet, despite all this talent, the club could only finish 5th. One of their victories that season was against Middlesbrough. Watson, Ford, Shackleton and Wright all being in the side.
Sunderland, striped shirts, were playing what might be described as a new side and were right on their toes from the start. Yes, it was quickly seen that the visitors had their work cut out, and within 10 minutes Sunderland opened the scoring with a goal by Kirtley. That was all for the first half, but in the second period, Sunderland continued to have the best of the game, making one dangerous attack after another. In spite of all Middlesbrough's efforts, they could not prevent Sunderland going further ahead, but with 2 goals against them, they came back strongly. During the last period of the match, Middlesbrough were working well together and putting on the pressure. They were rewarded, not with victory, but at least with a goal when Spula netted.
The following 2 seasons saw no great improvement. So in 1953, the Sunderland board, in an attempt to achieve some success, spent £61,000, an absolutely unheard of sum in those days, on 3 international players. They bought goalkeeper Jimmy Cowan from Morton, centre-half Ray Daniel from Arsenal, and outside left Billy Elliott from Burnley. This led to the club being dubbed the Bank of England club. But apart from a 4th place in 1954-55, the 50s were a dismal decade for Sunderland, with little to relieve the gloom. This was especially sad because in those days the club had real support, including a 51,000 gate against Blackpool in that 54-55 season. Even this was only an average gate, because in that same season, over 66,000 watched the home derby against Newcastle. An interesting match to be played at Roker in the mid-50s was in November 1955, when the famous Russian side, Moscow Dynamo, came to Roker as part of a British tour. An all-ticket crowd of 55,000 turned out under the floodlights for this game, but like almost everything during this era, it was to end in disappointment.
The usual exchange of courtesies at Roker Park were followed by Sunderland kicking off in their floodlit encounter with Dynamo in white shirts. Sunderland, top of the league at the time, were out to emulate the Wolves and defeat the visiting Russians. But Dynamo were not going back to Moscow empty-handed if they could help it. Plenty of nice football, but no goals in the first half. Shackleton, number 11, who had been put on the wing, was frequently prominent and worked away like anything. Perhaps he should have been on the inside. Anyway, Dynamo not only beat off all Sunderland raids, they had the best of the game throughout. But it was 3 minutes from time when they scored the winner through Ilyin. That was it. Dynamo retrieved some of their reputation and, well, thanks for the game.
The only other bright spot that season was a reasonable cup run that saw them reach the semi-finals after a 2-0 quarter-final victory over cup holders Newcastle United at St James Park.
St James's Park, Newcastle, and the cup holders wearing white shirts all ready to set the ball rolling in their sixth-round encounter with Sunderland. Besides their fans, the Roker Park team had brought a whole bag full of soccer tricks to embellish this #1 North East Cup tie. After 40 minutes, a lob from Shackleton was headed in by Bill Holder. Fleet-of-foot Milburn, United's outside right, foils the Roker defence, but they hold the Geordies off. They've got plenty of cards up their sleeves, the winning hand, in fact. Bill Holden shouts trumps, and it's in. The cup holders are out, and Sunderland are in the semi-final for the second year running.
After the euphoria of that win, however, came more gloom when they were beaten in the semi-final by Birmingham. But things were to get even worse. In 1956-57, the club finished 20th, just avoiding relegation. And in June 1957, manager Bill Murray resigned. This after a Football League commission had found the club guilty of making illegal payments to certain players. Months later, it was stated that the commission had exceeded its authority, and a fine of £5,000 was repaid to the club and suspensions of board members lifted. All too late for Murray. In August 1957, Alan Brown arrived at Roker to take over as manager. But only 3 wins in the first 11 games meant the club was again heading for trouble. In an attempt to stem the tide, Brown dug deep into the club's finances and spent £18,000 on a young centre-half from Millwall called Charlie Hurley. But the 20-year-old Irishman had a baptism of fire. His first game saw the club beaten 7-0 at Blackpool. He even put through his own goal. Despite this rocky start, Charlie was to become a great favourite in his 12 years with the club and became one of the finest centre-halves in the country, to gain the nickname King Charlie. Indeed, in 1979, the Sunderland fans named him Player of the Century. But, regretfully, in that black season of 57-58, Sunderland were relegated from the First Division for the first time in their 68-year league history. And it was to be 6 seasons later before the club was to return to the top flight. Before that, however, Brown was to sign another of the club's post-war greats, a certain Brian Clough, who was bought from Middlesbrough for about £45,000. Cloughy in all scored 63 goals in 74 appearances.
Back to Hurd. Screws it along. Clough missed. That was Bennett. In the 39th minute, Clough puts Sunderland 1 up. Chip. Clough's there, it's in. Oh, what a delightful header. And an even better chip. chance. Yes, it's there! A brilliant piece of opportunism by Brian Clough. Now it's Hurd on the ball. Clough. Yes, it's there, my word. Still got it. Oh, it's there! Clough has done it again.
In that 61-62 season, the club changed its strip. The black shorts changed to white, and the red and white shirts were matched by red and white socks. Brian Clough scored 29 goals, including 4 hat-tricks, and the club needed to win their last match at Swansea to gain promotion. Sadly, they only managed a 1-1 draw and had to settle for third place, 1 point behind runners-up Leyton Orient. The club began the 62-63 season with confidence. 2 more new faces appeared in Scottish international George Mulhall from Aberdeen for £25,000 and Johnny Crossan from Standard Liège for £26,700. Unfortunately, in the third match of the season at Leeds, inside left William McFeet was carried off with a broken leg, an injury that ended his career. But then came an even bigger disaster. On Boxing Day 1962 against Bury, Brian Clough chased a ball into the penalty area, only to collide awkwardly with keeper Harker. A badly torn ligament meant Clough's highly promising career as a player was virtually over. The man with the unenviable task of taking over his place was a young Scottish player, Dominic Sharkey. But in 17 matches, young Nick was to score 11 goals, including 5 against Norwich. So, once again, Sunderland needed only a draw in the last game of the season against Chelsea to go up. But once again, they were to have success snatched away, losing by the only goal of the match in front of a crowd of almost 48,000.
And this is the moment for which we've all been waiting. The match that will decide whether or not Sunderland hit the jackpot and go up into the First Division next season. 1 point will be sufficient to see them there, and the mood that this wonderful crowd is in on this rainy, windy afternoon should, I think, enable the Roker players to achieve that target. Still waiting for them to come out. Chelsea are already on their field in their royal blue shirts and white shorts, blue stockings, and I can hardly hear myself talk as the roar goes up, as Stan Anderson leads out the Sunderland 11. Absolutely fantastic roar from this wonderful crowd. They can cheer their heads off in spite of the pouring rain and the rather dismal wind. They're here this afternoon to cheer their favourites on, and my word, they intend to do so if this is any indication. Now it's McCready. McCready still got it. Kevin there and Harmer would be dangerous. And McNabb concedes a corner, the first for Chelsea, with 25 minutes gone. Oh, it's there! It's a goal! Well, my word, the Sunderland defence were caught completely napping. As Tambling's corner came across there and caught the Sunderland defence completely napping. So after 25 minutes, Sunderland are 1 down.
And that was the goal that put Chelsea in the First Division and kept Sunderland in the Second Division.
But after 2 near misses, the club was not to be denied a third time. Sunderland gave their fans a taste of things to come as far back as November, when leading Portuguese side Benfica, including their star player Eusebio, came to Roker Park. They went down 5-3 to a vintage Sunderland display.
Good ball through there to Hurd. Hurd is onside, and Hurd scores. Hurd scored for Sunderland just a few minutes after the restart. Benfica kicking off again. Substitute outside right. Oh, and a very dangerous move there, and it's a goal. Flicks it through to Sharkey. Back to Sharkey. Sharkey shoots, and it's a goal. It's a goal. A lovely goal there by Sharkey. Out to Mulhall. Mulhall bringing it away for Sunderland now. Going on the outside, and it's Mulhall. Oh, and a terrific shot, and it's a goal! Oh, beautiful move there. A lovely move. Mulhall brought the ball the length of the pitch, and it was left to Sharkey to pick up that ricochet, which came off the goalkeeper and crack it in the net for a glorious goal. And the crowd erupting with excitement here. As Sunderland go 3-1 into the lead. After 20 minutes, just gone 20 minutes in the second half. Seraphim. And now it's Sunderland with their tails up. And it's Crossan. Flicking that ball through to Hurd. Hurd to Sharkey. Oh, and a lovely goal by Sharkey. Magnificent goal.
By March, promotion was almost odds-on when Preston, who were lying third to Sunderland's second, were thrashed 4-0.
Good cross. And Crossan has touched it. He has scored. What a good cross. 25 minutes. Crossan has put Sunderland in the lead. Crossan trying to stick that one through Lawton's legs, but it's Elliott now. Shocking neat flick inside of Mulhall. There's a chance. And he fires right-handed. And it's a goal. What a wonderful goal from the outside left. After 29 and a half minutes, Mulhall made it 2-0. So it's a free kick to Sunderland. It's taken by Crossan to Mulhall. And it's turned over by Alan Kelly. Short one to Sharkey. Sharkey touching it back to him. Elliott. Going to get a goal. They touch it back to Ashurst. To Mulhall. And this time Hurd gets it stuck in. It's a goal. It's a goal. Sharkey flicks it in. 33 minutes. Sharkey flicking in from Hurd. Hurd. Usher. He tries to find Sharkey, but Tony Singleton, the Preston centre-half, is there to hold him. And Hurley beating Dawson. Oh, it's Hurd. Forward for Sharkey. Can he reach it before Kelly? No, the Preston goalkeeper's there first. Well, Sunderland fans kind of complain that their team have let them down so far in this match. One wonders if they can add to this impressive total of 3-0. Inside left, Spavin. Touch back to Lawton. And Lawton trying to find his right winger, finds Len Ashurst there. They head it over for a Preston throw. Nine minutes left in this half. And Sunderland, remember, attacking their favourite aim in the second half. Sharkey inside a Crossan. And a long ball from Crossan to Usher. And he's round the full-back. Sharkey knocks it in. It's a goal. It's a wonderful goal.
The win against Swansea saw them just 4 points away from the promotion they so badly wanted.
Third failing to control that one. It's Williams. Williams trying to find his wingman, Brian Evans. But it's the Sunderland right winger who's got it. Usher's got it. Can he control it? Oh, it's in! He scored! Well, Usher... Well, if Usher hadn't made sure of it, Noel Dwyer certainly did.
But the last match of the season saw them beat Charlton 2-1 at Roker to gain promotion. Captain Charlie Hurley was chaired shoulder high for a lap of honour, and it brought this tribute from manager Brown.
And I'm personally very, very grateful to the manner in which the players have fought their way through to this successful conclusion. They deserve every praise, and I would like to say a special word for those that have been with the club when things were bad, particularly the captain, Charlie Hurley, No praise can be too high for him, and no praise can be too high for the players in the loyal way which have supported the quiet discipline that prevails in this club. Very happy for them, and mustn't exaggerate our part in the matter at all. It's purely a player's success. I feel very humbly grateful to them.
During this 63-64 season, they lost only 6 matches and were runners-up to Leeds United. But this was also the season that had seen 3 epic quarter-final FA Cup battles against Manchester United.
With the defeat of Everton, Cup fever spread like a prairie fire. Everyone wanted a ticket for the tough away game against cup holders Manchester United at Old Trafford. 16,000 travelled from Wearside to see a Sunderland team which had 19-year-old reserve left half David Elliott deputising again for the injured Jimmy McNabb. Manchester United supporters, amused by the cockiness and high spirits of the Wearside fans, lost most of their own gaiety when Johnny Crossan shot Sunderland into a 1-goal lead. And sensing a victory if they kept up the pressure, the confident Sunderland forwards teased and tormented the United defence, and Johnny Crossan was awarded a penalty kick, which he equally promptly converted. But shortly afterwards, with Sunderland leading 2-0, the centre-half and captain Charlie Hurley put through his own goal to make it 2-1, and the game finally ended in a 3-3 draw.
Well, it was one of the worst moments in my football career, because I've not scored in my own goal for 4 years, and it was just one of those things. It came across, and I thought it was winning 2-0, so I thought I'll just glance it back to Monty. And I think he shouted, but the crowd were yelling that much, I didn't hear him, you see, and it was the worst sight in the world to see that bubbling back into the net there.
You won't try it again?
Oh, never again. That's me finished. I think I'll never pass back again after that.
As in the previous game, Sunderland were first to score as Dominic Sharkey scored the vital goal. And onto the pitch swarmed the jubilant supporters. Johnny Crossan was unlucky when he delayed his shot, and goalkeeper David Gaskell had a chance to recover. Matt Busby looked a very worried man. But Manchester United fought strongly for the equalising goal, and it came in the 62nd minute when Dennis Law scored. And he restored the confidence of Matt Busby and the whole Manchester United contingent. With the scores level at the end of 90 minutes, extra time was played, and a Sunderland move led to Maurice Seddis putting through his own goal, and it looked as though United were out of the cup. But in the closing minutes, centre-forward Bobby Charlton headed the equaliser. Whatever the general feelings were after the Roker incident, the second replay at Huddersfield again saw thousands of Wearside supporters making the journey. The heavy pitch was not a welcome sight. As before, Sunderland scored first through Dominic Sharkey in the 47th minute. But this lead was to be short-lived, and following a right-wing move, Dennis Law scored the equaliser within 30 seconds. The strain of 5 hours cup football was beginning to tell. Sunderland, who had the league programme in the forefront of their thoughts throughout the cup run, were no match on the night for the Manchester United side, which had rested its star players on the previous Saturday. Matt Busby's tactic, taken as a compliment by the Sunderland team, did the trick.
Well, that season was to be the last to thrill the fans for the rest of the decade. The club struggled to stay in the top flight, always finishing in the bottom half of the table. Manager Alan Brown, having achieved promotion, left the club in July '64 to go to Sheffield Wednesday. To compound this, goalkeeper Jimmy Montgomery sustained a hand injury in pre-season training, and the club had to open their return to Division 1 by playing a 15-year-old keeper, Derek Foster, against Leicester City. The match ended in a 3-3 draw, and in the next 2 games, Foster conceded a further 7 goals. So the directors, who were still running the side, bought Sandy McLaughlin from Kilmarnock to take over. That match against West Brom also saw Brian Clough achieve a lifelong ambition to play in the First Division. But after a 20-month layoff, it was to be a fleeting comeback, as he was to play in only 2 more games, scoring in 1. When he was offered the manager's job at Hartlepool in October 1965, he was asked how difficult it had been to make the transition from player to manager.
Perhaps difficult is not quite the right word. It's been hard work more than anything else. Hard work to adjust to dealing with players instead of being a player yourself.
Do you still miss the big-time atmosphere?
Not so much a big-time atmosphere. What I do miss, very, very much indeed, and I'm conscious of it all the time, is playing the game.
In November, former England international fullback George Hardwick was appointed manager, but after only 18 months he was relieved of his duties. Scottish national manager Ian McCall took his place. He fared little better, with the club always struggling. Then, in 1968, McCall left, and to a somewhat mixed reception, Alan Brown returned to the club. But in 69-70, the club reached a low ebb. Beaten in the League Cup by a third division side, Bradford City, beaten in the FA Cup by second division Leicester, and then finally relegation after finishing second bottom. They won only 6 games, their worst record since their very first season in the league in 1890. They had a bad opening to their second division campaign, finishing only 13th, but during that season centre-half Dave Watson arrived from Rotherham along with Dick Malone from Ayr. These signings, coupled with Brown's youth policy, started to pay dividends, brought improvements, and in 1971-72 they were battling for promotion. But 2 bad home defeats near the end of the season meant they had to be content with 5th place. So Sunderland set out with high hopes in the 72-73 season, but with just 4 wins in the first 14 games, they found themselves struggling at the wrong end of the table. Brown was relieved of his duties in November.
Well, what's it feel like to be back here in the northeast, and particularly at Sunderland?
Well, I'm very thrilled about it, George, really. I've been quite excited the last couple of weeks while all the speculation's been going on, and when it was clinched it's the sort of end of an 11-year dream, really, because as I left as a player, I always sort of vowed that I would come back as a manager one day to the northeast, and it's the first part of the fulfillment anyway. I've never kidded anyone at any time that it was my ambition to turn to the northeast as a manager. I played all my career here in front of the Geordie people who I've always loved, and now the opportunity has come, and that's the main reason. Whether it had been anywhere, whether it had been the bottom of the league, the top of the league, it was just a question that I'm back home again and looking forward to it.
A new spirit came into the side and they shot up the table, finishing 6th. But the real fairy tale was in the FA Cup. Yet in the 3rd round, only a late equaliser by Dave Watson at Notts County prevented an early exit. They won the replay only to face another 2-game cliffhanger against Reading. Sunderland had been lacking a good centre-forward, but the arrival of Vic Hallam in the February solved that problem. The 5th round saw Sunderland meet the Cup favourites Manchester City at Main Road.
This is the danger man. Doyle, pulled back for Towers. Good shot! What a goal! Fine goal by Towers. And that's a bad kick, gone straight to Horswell. Yes! Stewart playing it for Hughes, who is onside. Corrigan has come out and is in danger here. Yes! Bell on a run into the goal mouth. And it's gone in off the goalkeeper. An own goal. Jimmy Montgomery's face said it all, but it was a very good corner from Summerby. Stewart coming to help him and making a gap for Porterfield. Couldn't find room for a shot. Nor can Horswell. This is Kerr. That's a good ball. And it's gone in! Tremendous shot. Coming across the box. Horswell can't find room for a shot. Kerr picks it up and tucks it out there to where Hallam had been waiting. And it's an absolute peach of a ball in off the far post. Short for him. Back out to Kerr. Hughes still trying to find a way through and succeeding! What a superb goal by Hughes! Sunderland are clearly going to make this some game. Hughes really didn't look as though he had a chance after the first shot had bounced out. Very skillfully found the space and hammered it past Corrigan. They just cannot find room. There are no gaps. Donachie running on. And tremendous defensive work by Tuart. And there's Bell. Or was it Marsh? It was Marsh's shot. The ball deflected into his path and cleared. Marsh really thought he'd been given one then. Doyle. Towers. Doyle again. Bell waiting at the back of the box. That's the pass aimed for his head. There's the nod down and Lee going in. Got it. Well-worked move brings Manchester City back into the game. 6 minutes into the second half. It's Hallam barged off it by Bell. Two men in the middle waiting for the cross. Lee! Well saved by Montgomery. Lee really thought he'd done it then. But Montgomery got his legs to it. Spread himself. Porterfield, Malone, and plenty of Sunderland players prepared to join the break. Flicked on well for Tuart. And put in. Hughes has done it. 3-1. Tuart going over to join the congratulations. It was his shot. The ball pushed through very nicely indeed for Tuart. A good shot that the goalkeeper half stopped. Kerr might have done it, but Hughes was there and gets his second goal of the game to make it 3-1. Tuart, the man who made the cross.
After that great victory, it was almost an anti-climax to meet sixth-round opponents Luton Town. Over 53,000 spectators turned out at Roker to see the 2-0 victory that took the club into the semi-finals for the first time since 1956, and the players were delighted at the draw.
Number 4, Chelsea or Arsenal. Number 2 will play Sunderland.
Arsenal, who'd appeared in the last two cup finals and going for a record third, were now firm favourites to win the competition. But Sunderland had other ideas.
Here is Horswell now. Ball had left him for a moment and Kelly had to react quickly. Sunderland's throw. And again, all the Sunderland supporters behind that Arsenal goal, giving their team all the encouragement. Horswell again, and a shot! Oh, and a wonderful save by Wilson from Mickey Horswell. Story ducking low to try and backhead it. Horswell. Lockley touching back, and will he go far enough? No! Hallam! A goal! Lockley's mistake. Wilson came out. And Sunderland, surprising everybody, have gone into the lead through Hallam. Rice with the free kick. Lockley right up there to try and make amends, and Horswell kicking off the line, and Armstrong going in, and Porterfield getting it away to Tuart. McNabb. Malone. George, ball. Armstrong, a chance. No, and it won't come yet. Maybe it will now. Oh, and it went against the post and behind. Story. But Horswell again there for Sunderland. And Hallam is first on the break. Still Hallam. And still Hallam. Oh, and a great save by Wilson. And Wilson is furious with that defence around him. Hallam always had the edge on Blockley, and the ball bounced nicely for him. And in all honesty, he should have made that number 2. Hughes. And Kerr. A deep cross again towards Tuart on the far side. And Hallam! Oh, and kicked away by McNabb. And Hallam almost got through again. Armstrong then with Arsenal's corner. Floated high, Richie Pitt getting it away. Kennedy turned back again. Armstrong will gather this one. Hit low, deflection! Oh, and Ball tried to turn it in. And a great reflex save by Montgomery. The shot by Armstrong was deflected by a defender, and Montgomery changed direction magnificently there, and then beat off the challenge by Ball. And Sunderland with another throw. Tuart coming hard towards it, and it's there! Billy Hughes with the header, and Wilson could only put it into his own goal. And now the task for Arsenal is enormous. Hughes with a delicate back header, and Wilson could only help it on its way. Simpson. Oh, Kennedy and Charlie George! Yes! Charlie George! Well, that really does give this tremendous semi-final a magnificent last 5 minutes, as that ball came across. First one had a go at it, then it came through to Charlie George, left foot. Montgomery just got a hand to it, but couldn't stop it crossing the line, as Wilson takes the goal kick. And Sunderland, since the arrival of Bob Stokoe in November, and they've lost only 2 games since then, have still got to hold out as Radford crosses it once more. And again, Montgomery went in, and it's a corner for Arsenal. And really, there are just seconds left now. And it's all over. There aren't enough seconds. And Sunderland are through to Wembley. The side that has lived of late on the rising passions of North East football have given the North East what they've so dearly wanted. And the Sunderland fans are going crazy. And the photographers in their hundreds are surrounding Bob Stokoe in that Sunderland bench, the man who has revitalised and transformed football in the North East. Sunderland, the deserved winners of this semi-final. Arsenal 1, Sunderland 2, and the hugs are for manager Bob Stokoe. A man really who has performed a miracle at Sunderland. Goals by Hallam and by Hughes.
So it was on May the 5th, 1973 that Cup fever hit Sunderland as their team set off for Wembley and a final against First Division Leeds United.
Wembley bound now.
Wembley bound ball, yeah.
So this is what we would say a very unique day. The fact that people have been prepared to alter their wedding arrangements for the football final has taken us by surprise. And we're having a very, very quiet day here in the Register office in Sunderland.
Well, we're going for a drink now, and then after that, the girls will be going back to the bride's house, and then we'll be going to the club to say the match.
So the men will be on their own?
Oh, definitely this afternoon. The girls have to find their own pleasures.
Oh, yes, I'm going to see Jimmy, my son-in-law. He's Sunderland goalkeeper. Think he's going to keep them out? Oh, yes, he'll keep them out. He will, he'll do that. Are you thinking of a score? Do you think you're going to forecast a score? Well, I said 1-0.
Hallam's got away from Madeley there, all right, and he's got Porterfield down the left. Tuart inside, calling for it from Porterfield. Hallam slips over, and a great shot there by Billy Hughes. Took it well on the run, and was just a couple of yards too high. Coming up to a quarter of an hour gone, and absolutely nothing to choose by the inside so far. Guthrie again. Reaney nodding that one away, but only as far as Horswell! Oh, and that was a fraction wide. There was a deflection after Horswell had hit it. Giles, long sweeping ball again towards Alan Clark. Malone challenging hard. Bremner, a touch off for Lorimer. Now, is this Lorimer's chance? This must be Lorimer's chance. Crossed there towards Mick Jones. Oh, and a beautiful header away by Malone. Crossed again and passed. Hughes moving just a little easier now. And now it's with Kerr. And that must be Harvey's, but he's under a lot of pressure. So Harvey tipping that one over. A corner to Sunderland. And Hughes is going to take it. He really is, I'm sure, to the vast relief of the North East, moving a lot more freely now. A deep one again. Watson is right in there. So too is Hallam. And Porterfield! Oh, Porterfield has scored! And Sunderland, the underdogs, are in the lead. Bremner was closing very quickly, but not quickly enough. But Cherry taking possession and finding Madeley. And there's room ahead now for Madeley to begin one of those runs. Reaney away on the right for him, but here's Clark in a lot of space. And Clark denied at the very last by Dave Watson. As the whistle goes for half-time. A really sensational first half that saw Sunderland struggling for periods, but scoring the only goal of the first half through Ian Porterfield. Watson, that magnificent defender with a magnificent free kick. And now Hughes, will he do something with this one? Well, Stewart let one go there. Porterfield again, that time with the left foot. Guthrie lining one up. And it just went into the side netting when half the crowd at Wembley thought it was number 2.
What a moment from behind the goal, look at that. One shot after the other. And finally, there it is, just into the side netting.
Hunter now to Giles. And now for Jones. Can he turn it and let one go? Back this time for Reaney as Sunderland crowd them out. Reaney, the high one in. And Cherry going in. And a great save. And a goal. No! My goodness, I thought Lorimer got that one. And Leeds are trying to say that the ball had crossed the line.
Well, we better look at it now because this is very vital. I must say it looked as if the ball had hit the stanchion at the back. Let's look closely. We can look at it now from behind the goal. As it turns out to be an incredible miss. There it is, Lorimer coming in. Oh, in fact, it wasn't. What a save. In fact, that was a fantastic save from Montgomery.
Giles with the free kick, floated again on that far side. Pitt getting ahead to it. Madeley, who has been brilliant, dinking it back once more. And Horswell couldn't lift himself to it. Bremner now. Bremner, a good cross. And Madeley again turning it back. That was another good piece of play by Madeley, but it was Pitt who got it away. 3 minutes now to go. Europe on the far side. And again, Jimmy Montgomery there for Sunderland. Hallam and Reaney. Hallam just lifting it over Reaney, and he can't really run after it, but he's saying that'll take Leeds a few more seconds to get it back. The crowd are lifting this stadium still more. There's Hallam, a man who's given just about everything he can give, as indeed all the Sunderland players have, and Leeds are still coming for them. Giles with Reaney again making one of those good-looking runs on the right. Another cross. And again, that man Watson is there. And it's with Hallam. 3-4 of Sunderland against 2 of Leeds. And Tuart now. And if he plays it across, he's got Kerr unmarked. But Madeley, as ever, is back. But Madeley loses it to Kerr. And Tuart is coming in again. And now his side foot there for Hallam. And Hallam again. And a tremendous save by Harvey. And Hallam can't believe it. Tuart now for Sunderland. A deep cross. Hallam on the far side, but Madeley is there for Leeds United. On my watch, a minute and a half to go. Lorimer taking it up again for Leeds. Giles. Sunderland are so tired now. Bob Stoker was saying, my men are going to go out there and they're going to run and run until they drop. And Sunderland are almost at dropping point. Clark, but Pitt again, a brave challenge in there. Horswell tucked off nicely there by Tuart for Bobby Kerr. Back for Tuart again, and only Madeley is back. Hunter bravely trying to get back. We're inside the last minute. And it's a throw to Sunderland, and that's going to take a few more seconds. Stokoe now on the edge of his seat. And still those seconds are dragging on that Sunderland bench. Bobby Kerr, the captain, waiting for the throw for Sunderland. Are Sunderland going to be the first second division side since 1931 to win the cup? One of the greatest upheavals of all time if they do. Giles onto his chest. There's very little injury time, and we're in the last half minute. Clark, and a good challenge there, and a strong one by Guthrie. That'll take a few more seconds. The referee looking hard at the watch again. The bench are telling everybody in the Sunderland side to get back. Pitt, who has been magnificent, gets it away. It's with Hunter. Again, that referee has looked at his watch. Lorimer turning it on towards Jones, and that time Watson. Yoroff back again. Malone is away. And now it falls for Tuart, and they can hardly raise a gallop, except, of course, Kerr. Tuart once more. We're in injury time at the end of the game. And a free kick goes to Sunderland, and it could well be that the seconds that takes will be all that matter. Hughes. And that's behind for another goal kick. Harvey wants to take it quickly. We have played 35 seconds of injury time. And Guthrie planting that one where it's safe, up in the Leeds half of the field. Giles. Bob Stokoe doesn't know how to contain himself on the bench. He's had a blanket over his knees and off his knees about 4 times in the last half minute. Malone taking it up again. Well, he's found a bit more energy. Hughes, and the referee looking at the watch again. Horswell. We have got one of the biggest upheavals of all time at Wembley. It seemed, the experts said, that there was no way that Sunderland could win, except that it looks as though they're going to. Tuart now to Kerr. A nice little dink on again for Hughes. Kerr again. And that's going to put Harvey under pressure. And no, it's not given. It's a foul by Hallam on Harvey. He has now played nearly 2 minutes of injury time. And again, the bench is urging everybody to go back. And Sunderland have done it. Stokoe can't believe it. But Sunderland from the second division. Where's he going? Bob Stokoe to Jimmy Montgomery, the goalkeeper who's punching and saving. Saved the day for Sunderland. The most surprising result that Wembley has probably seen in its 50 years of FA Cup finals. Porterfield, the man who scored it, and Watson, the man who stopped Leeds United from getting an equaliser. The unbelievable has happened at Wembley. And Bobby Kerr being held by Bob Stokoe. Kerr, who ran and found energy to run some more. A tremendous result this for Sunderland, and with due deference to Leeds United, a tremendous result for football as well.
When I was a boy, I think about 14, Don Revie fixed me up with a trial with Leeds. I was there for, as I say, a month, and I came back home, and it was just fitting that Sunderland meet Leeds in the final, and you know, I stick the one in that wins the cup.
It was a very good corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great corner from Billy Hughes here, and Dave Watson got it great here. The ball gets knocked down, and as you see, I've got time.
Surprising how much time you did have there, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. My control was good now.
And that right foot shot was impeccable.
Yeah. I felt great at that moment.
Tell us exactly how it felt. What were the fellas saying?
Well, I can't remember much about it. You know, when I scored, it's the first time I've ever felt emotion in my life. I'm not an emotional fella, but I could feel, you know, the tears sort of coming to my eyes. And Billy Hughes says, "Porter, you've scored, you've scored." And when he said that, I think I began to realise that I had scored.
Hurrah, the lads! Bob Stokoe quite rightly joining in that lap of honour with his players. That's what you call a tracksuit manager. And they came down in their thousands with the cup.
And the homecoming was just as emotional, with thousands thronging the streets to pay homage to the cup winners. The following season saw a great expectancy from the fans, and only one defeat in the first 8 games augured well. They'd beaten Notts County 4-1 away and had a good win over Sheffield Wednesday at home.
Horswell has Malone outside him. Plays a long one for Hallam. Kerr. Porterfield. Still going on. That's for Hughes. Hughes with a chance and a goal! In the 20 minutes of the game, Billy Hughes puts Sunderland ahead. So another corner, this time on the right. To be taken by Sunderland's captain, Bobby Kerr. Outswinger. It's there. It's there from Vic Hallam. Sunderland 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Hughes, Stewart, he's got Hallam free. Good ball. Now what can Hallam do? Gives it to Bobby Kerr. Porterfield. What a goal! What a great goal by Ian Porterfield. Bernard Shaw. Sunley. Coyle to hit one. And a goal! 3-1.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
In January, the town of Sunderland gave both the club and Bob Stokoe the ultimate accolade when they gave them the freedom of the borough.
On behalf of the council and the townspeople, it is my pleasure to call upon Mr. Stokoe and Mr. Collins to sign the Freeman's Roll.
What are you doing again?
It is my pleasure to express congratulations to Mr. Robert Stokoe and Mr. Keith Collins as chairman of the Sunderland Association Football Club on their admission as honorary freemen of the County Borough of Sunderland. The honour which has been conferred upon the manager and club today is one which is carried for lifetime.
Mr. Mayor, Your Grace, Aldermen, Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, what do I say next? I've got my chairman on my left here who is going to follow me with a speech, and it's been made very, very clear to me that I mustn't step on his toes in any way at all. So already he's poor ranked on me. The one pleasing thing to start with, that I got 52 votes to the club's 51. I'm very proud to come here and accept the honorary freedom of the County Borough of Sunderland. It's a very, very proud moment for me.
By February, the club was still in the running for promotion, and a 4-0 win against Millwall helped.
Dave Watson at the far post. Taken by Porterfield. And that's good! And it's there! It's there from Vic Hallam. In the second minute of the game, Vic Hallam scoring with a powerful header from a free kick taken by Ian Porterfield. Malone beating Boland. Kerr to bring it back. And the header from Hughes! A beautiful header from Billy Hughes! And justice is done. Dennis Stewart, who might have had a penalty a moment ago. And there it is! 3-0! Vic Hallam's second goal. Hallam giving Kitchener the run round, getting the ball back. Good pass from Kerr. Malone. And it should be there, and it is! And that's Billy Hughes' second goal. The cross from Malone.
But some costly defeats towards the end of the season saw their title challenge fade, and as neighbours Middlesbrough clinched the title in emphatic style, Sunderland had to settle for 6th place. During the close season, Stokoe signed another charismatic player, Brian "Pop" Robson, paying West Ham £145,000 to bring the former Newcastle player back to the North East.
Joe Bolton with the free kick for Sunderland. And Robson, yes, it's a goal. And Malone, as usual, coming to join in the attack. It's Hallam. Robson is behind you, and he's there. Hughes to Kerr. Towers. No offside. Porterfield. And it's there. Robson.
I think it's all to do with anticipation, and you've got to anticipate that he's going to be in a crossing position, and he's going to try and cross the ball. And I'm going to try and get in the box. It's all about trying to get in the box, and obviously I'm not going to get high crosses, so I've got to anticipate that I'm going to get the low crosses, and I've got to try and get within that 6-yard box.
By December, the club were right on target for promotion with a convincing display against Portsmouth.
Robson, Hallam, there. 32 minutes, and the corner has paid off. On Kerr. Number 10 is Wilson. What a terrible pass. Kerr. Robson. Towers. Kerr. Wilson once again for Portsmouth. Marinello. Oh, it's a goal! Scored by Mellows. Moncur to take the free kick. It's a penalty. It is a penalty. David Best facing now Billy Hughes. Two goals to one. Hallam. Oh, he's got a chance for three. Back to Hughes. Mellows. And I've got the goal for Portsmouth. Porterfield. Malone to Kerr. And Malone. It's 3-1. And off goes Malone again. Kerr. And it's Malone, he's onside. Now that's the second time we've seen Bess having to run outside his own penalty area, being left stranded. And he's already a two-place dribble past him. Now, is he onside? He is onside.
But that match was to be the last one for key midfield player Ian Porterfield. Shortly afterwards, he was badly injured in a car crash and was out for the rest of the season. The number 6 shirt was never adequately filled, and the club had to settle for 4th place, although they did finish the season at home on a high note with a victory over Bristol City, who'd also been challenging for promotion.
Hughes to Bolton. It's there! Bolton has scored, and that was not the sort of thing we expected a minute and a half from half-time. Teeing it up for Sweeney. Oh, Ritchie! And splendid goalkeeping by Montgomery. Kerr with the throw to Watson. This is Robson. That's a goal! A goal, oh goal, by Emmanuel. Lovely bit of football by Kerr. Malone to Tars. Robson. Good tackle by Collier. Just about 2 minutes left. It's Robson. Hughes to Kerr rather. Now this is Hughes. And almost another own goal and Belford has scored. And so in the dying minutes, it's 3-0.
But after so many near misses, the 1975-76 season was to see Bob Stokoe complete a great personal double. After winning the FA Cup in 1973, he took Sunderland back to the First Division. A great start to the season saw them win 13 of their opening 20 matches, including a 2-0 win over Oldham back in November, in which Robson scored twice.
Malone. Well, certainly Dick Malone can hit them when he gets half a chance. Malone to Kerr. Hallam. That I would think is welcome relief to Oldham. Space for a breather while Sunderland take the corner. That is a goal scored by Robson. And that one beating all the defenders. Clark to Kerr, number 7. And once again Malone streaking forward into the attack. He's down and up very quickly. And Robson. What a great save with the foot. Oldham. To Hallam, now Robson. And it's 2-0.
So it was that the last match of the season saw Sunderland beat Portsmouth 2-0 to take the Division 2 title and return to the Premier Division.
It's Moncur now for Sunderland. Robson helping it on to Oldham to Robson. And the Pompey defence covering very, very well indeed. Quarter of an hour gone. No score. Train deciding to try and change that with that ball to Oldham. And fine goalkeeping by Figgins. Off the mark. Roberts has never strayed very far away from Billy Hughes this afternoon. Bolton. That'll do. That was a goal all the way. 8 Trey. Holden. Train through to Kerr. Holden on the left. between goalkeeper and post. Kerr with the corner. Towers. 15 minutes of the first half left. The ice has been broken. Sunderland leading 1-0. And here's Train. And it's 2-0. Billy Hughes. Ian McFarlane, second from the right. Acting manager today. He's the coach of Manchester City when they won the Football League Cup in February. Now coached Sunderland, who look as if they're going to win the second division championship. It's Towers. And another splendid save by Figgins. And that's the sort of mood the Sunderland fans are in now. 2 minutes away from the title. Malone. Into Towers. Now to Robson. Now to Towers. Oh, that hit the post. And it was turned onto the post by the goalkeeper. It's a corner. Oh, what a finish to the season that would have been. Oh, another fine save. Referee looking at his watch. And the whistle has gone, and Sunderland are the champions. And Roker Park rises to them. The Portsmouth players congratulate them. And the referee congratulating the Sunderland players. And the stand rises the Sunderland team for the first time in the club's history. Sunderland are second division champions. And that's an honour they don't want to win again. And so, for Sunderland, it's goodbye second division, and here we come, the first division.
But yet again, euphoria was to turn to despair for the club. There were few high spots in their return to the first division. After only 3 points from their first 8 games, Bob Stokoe, who'd been ill for some time, decided he could no longer motivate the players and resigned in October after a home defeat by Aston Villa. It was to be a month before he was to be replaced by Jimmy Adamson, by which time the club were in the doldrums. Then, in February, when all looked lost, the club found a new lease of life that nearly ended with them avoiding relegation. A new young talent was emerging in Gary Rowell, a local product from Seaham. There were some great results, including a 6-0 thrashing of West Ham.
John Radford, the former Arsenal and England star, being beaten by Gary Rowell. And a chance there, surely, and it's the first goal, yes, and a beautiful goal scored by Holden. Bolton. Holden. And Days losing out on it. Now Rowell trying to take his time, beaten by Bill Green. Now back comes Sunderland, Rowell again, and he's got the second. And that really was well worked. Bobby Kerr, the Sunderland captain, to take the corner kick. Day missing that one. And it's a goal, yes, scored very cheekily by the number 9, Mel Holden. Oh, bad mistake, now straight to Kerr, and that's 4. And really, can you imagine? Oh, Gary Rowell getting it across to Doherty. Rowell. Back to Kerr. Oh, what a beautiful header. Oh, that really was splendid effort by Lee. And there's another one. And it's Gary Rowell who makes it 5. And that's onside. Now then, Bob Lee with a chance to get number 6. Has he? Yes, he has.
In 16 games, the club lost only twice, taking 23 points from a possible 32. This meant that in the final match at Everton, the club needed only 1 point to avoid the drop. Sunderland had a chance to take the lead with a shot by Kerr, but it was blocked and Holden, following up, couldn't get to it. But 2 goals by Everton, 1 in each half, sunk Sunderland, and indeed the score could have been even worse.
You've just come out of the Sunderland dressing room. What is the feeling?
Very disappointing. There's a few of the young lads I think are really low, and there might be 2 or 3 tears coming out of them, you know. I think we're very lucky not to get a goal. Everton could have scored 2 or 3 more if it hadn't been for Barry Siddle's brilliance.
So, after only 1 season, Sunderland were relegated, but not without controversy. The 2 other clubs who could also have been relegated, Coventry and Bristol, played each other that same evening. For some reason, the match kicked off 7 minutes late, and the Sunderland result was announced before the end, meaning from there on in, both teams just went through the motions, knowing they were safe. Perhaps it would have made no difference, but nevertheless, Coventry were reprimanded by the league. The following season saw another new talent emerging. Again, it was a homegrown youngster, Sean Elliott, from Hayden Bridge. One of his goals came in a 3-1 victory over Oldham.
Elliott, free kick. Kerr. Henderson taking over. He's kept it in brilliantly. And a great hit the crossbar. That really would have been a great goal. Near post corner, and it's a goal. Beautifully nudged in by Sean Elliott. They're going to be teed up for somebody. Ashurst 2-0. Oh, that really did go in like a bullet. And so a quarter of an hour of the second half gone. 2-0, Sunderland lead. Oh, chance enough for Lee to make it 3, and he has done.
Despite finishing only 6th in 77-78, the club ended the season with a flourish, even beating one of the clubs to be promoted, Tottenham, on their own ground in the penultimate game of the season.
So away we go, Sunderland in blue shirts and white shorts. Spurs in white shirts attacking the goal to our right at the start of a really critical week for Tottenham. 3 games left, today's at home in midweek against Hull and away to Southampton next Saturday. And really at this precise moment, disregarding results in other games, Spurs want 4 points for promotion. And they could well do with 2 of them today, and Peter Taylor going in! And a goal! In 28 seconds, Spurs go into the lead. So it's Henderson. Kerr, Rostron, Perriman there with him, Doherty turning it in to Gregoire, and Rowell, 1-1! Jones playing it back again for Holland. Will he let one go this time? No, it was Rowell who got in the way, and Rostron who can bring it out. Gregoire and Lee are up for him, and coming up fast here is Mick Doherty. What a good break by him. As a cross towards Bob Lee on the far side, the header there, and it's into the net by Lee, and Spurs are behind. Elliott, away to Lee. Well, if Spurs don't watch it, they could be caught out again. They've got a lot of men forward, and they've got to bring them back. And there's Kerr onside. Linesman kept his flag down, played it again, and another goal by Lee, 3-1. Hoddle. Played for McNabb. Taylor. Bottle again. And now Naylor. It comes again. Jones with a header, and Duncan got the touch.
The following season, Jimmy Adamson, who had had a mixed relationship with the supporters, left to join Leeds. Dave Merrington took over as caretaker manager, and the side lost only twice in the next 8 matches. The game on December the 2nd saw a 5-0 victory over Bristol Rovers, with Wayne Entwistle scoring a hat-trick.
Entwistle racing onto that one, and that's done it. The referee takes one look at the linesman, but that's the break that Sunderland needed. It's been pretty poor service up to the 2 Bristol strikers. Now a chance for Entwistle again, straight down the middle, the defence completely square, wide open, and that's 2-0. Inches then, and the ball runs loose to Henderson. Neatly taken by Roston. Henderson once again. And it's a goal! That's it, the hat-trick! There's Wayne Entwistle gets Sunderland's first hat-trick of the season, and the crowd rise to it. Great effort by Bob Lee. Rowell going down the middle, calling for it. There's Rowell, gets on the right side of the defender. Dave blocks that first effort, still with Rowell. Entwistle. Oh, Lee must. Yes. Well, he could almost, as they say in the old days, could have taken the lace out of the ball. Buckley. To Lee. Joe Bolton, in comes Entwistle from the right. Oh, it's, oh, you would hardly believe it. Gary Rowell at last has got his name on the score sheet, and again the man who makes the pass inside was Wayne Entwistle.
Despite this, however, Billy Elliott was brought in shortly afterwards, with Merrington staying on as his assistant. With only 2 games to go in the 78-79 season, Sunderland were top of the table, but then came an unexpected tumble in their home game against relegation-haunted Cardiff City. Ronnie Moore made a good run, beating Joe Bolton and keeper Siddall to score Cardiff's first. Sunderland looked set to equalise with a penalty, but Rostron's shot was well saved. Cardiff's second goal came from a corner, after a deflection off a Sunderland defender. Ray Bishop scored. From the corner, Jackie Ashurst pulled one back for Sunderland, but the final scoreline, 2-1, was not enough. That game was a major disaster, although they did put themselves back in with a chance with a win at Wrexham in their final match of the season.
Giles. That's a good one, but Siddall has got it. No, he's lost it, and it's turned in, and the goal is given to Jerry Jones. Lee turning it back out there to Arnott. Free kick is given. Obstruction. I don't suppose Arnott will be too displeased about that. Makes the angle a bit more interesting for him. And the goal has gone in from Rostron. Oh, and he's made a good break here. In the middle, Buxton and McNeil. McNeil! Barry Siddall. A marvellous save to deny Dixie McNeil his 200th league goal. It was a lovely cross. McNeil met it with the kind of header that has brought him a lot of his previous 199, but he hasn't always had to face goalkeeping of the quality that Siddall produced there. Well, that would have been curtains, but Siddall will have to be in action again. This time he saves well. Lost it. Header down. Brown. He's got it. It's carnival time at the racecourse ground. In 60 seconds, Siddall at one end and Brown at the other have turned the game.
Unfortunately, that win was not enough because Crystal Palace won a match they had in hand against Burnley to end Sunderland's promotion hopes and rue that disastrous game against Cardiff. In May, Billy Elliott was relieved of his duties and Ken Knighton, who'd served under Adamson and Elliott, was offered the manager's job by Chairman Keith Collins. So, after coming so close in 2 seasons, could Sunderland do it in the 79-80 season? Well, if the way they played against a Paraguayan 11 in November was anything to go by, they were certainly ready.
But it's the Paraguayans who attacked first, and there's Kesey putting them one up very early in the match. A well-worked goal, well-deserved. Pop Robson corner for Sunderland. John Hawley's put to the ground by Cespedes. There can be only one decision for George Courtney. It's a penalty, and it's Pop Robson to take. 1-1, he rarely misses from the penalty spot. 1-1 for Sunderland. That's Bob Lee making it 2-1 with a beautiful half volley with his left foot. He hadn't been on long as a substitute. The Paraguayans attack, and it's a penalty because Rob Hindmarsh has handled, and it's the penalty to be taken by Solalinde. Barry Siddall to face, and he saves superbly. He'd been on only 8 minutes as a substitute, beautifully handled. But there's the Paraguayans again, a good move on the right. The ball's pulled back, and Cespedes makes it 2-2. He was the man who conceded that penalty. He's the skipper. Rob Hindmarsh. And a beautiful ball for Tim Gilbert. He's beaten the offside trap. He has time to centre. And it's a beautiful cross for Gordon Chisholm to make it 3-2 for Sunderland. John Hawley throw. The ball missed deliberately, but not by Sean Elliott. He makes it 4-2 for Sunderland. He was up to the attack from defence, and that's Gordon Chisholm chasing. He's fouled, but Courtney allows the game to continue, and John Hawley makes it 5-2 for Sunderland, the 5th and final goal.
Sure enough, their home record in the league remained unbeaten, so once again it's all hinged on the remaining few matches. But this time there was to be no mistake. In their second last match of the season, they thrashed Watford 5-0. The first came when Sunderland forced a corner, which Pop Robson headed home. Mick Buckley made it 2 with a great left-foot shot. Sean Elliott scored the third with a fine drive. Robson's second was beautifully taken from an acute angle, just squeezing in. And Sean Elliott got the fifth with a fine run and rasping shot. An away draw at Cardiff meant that in the last match of the season they needed 1 point from their home match against West Ham, who 2 days earlier had won the FA Cup. A crowd of over 47,000 turned out to see the game. This time they were determined to make no mistakes, although there was plenty of tension in the Sunderland dugout. An early spell of pressure from Sunderland saw some chances. Hawley testing the West Ham keeper with a right-foot drive. But then came the breakthrough. Hawley laid a pass back, and twice the West Ham defence could not clear the ball. Robson's shot was only parried by the keeper, and Arnott was following up to drive it home. A second by Stan Cummings 10 minutes from the end made promotion secure. The spectators were absolutely jubilant, forcing the team to come out for a lap of honour.
We just needed a point to get up, but we wanted to win. We just went out to kill West Ham off virtually in the first 20 minutes by harrying them, running at them. You know, because if you let West Ham play, then there's not many better teams than West Ham when they're allowed to play. So we didn't allow them to play.
Oh, it's been the highlight of my career tonight. You know, since I left Middlesbrough and went 6 months in the second division to go straight back up, it's highlighted my career.
And you got the goal that was the winning, the important one.
Aye, well, the lads were saying I've been drying up all week, you know, not scoring in five-a-sides, and I haven't scored for a few weeks in the matches, and I got one tonight to show them.
You know, it's been nice to be involved in 2 celebrations in 3 days. Particularly pleased with the little man, little Pop, who is a good mate of mine. And
can we have him in here with you? Go on, let's get him.
Better cover yourself up, Brian. But no, yeah, I'm pleased for Bob. I think it's terrific for him to go up, and I think the supporters were great tonight. Got behind the team, and the fact that he hasn't lost at home all season, I think sums it up. Really, he deserves it. I certainly wish him all the best, and with these supporters, they must have a chance.
I'm delighted that 47,000 people turned up tonight, and in true Wearside fashion, they got behind the team, and I thought they were absolutely magnificent.
What did you feel when the final whistle went?
I don't know. What did we feel?
Well, I think we thought, honestly, it was over before the final whistle went, of course, but I really fought for him 10 minutes to go because he deserves it. I mean, he's brought the players, well, he's brought some players and he's brought the staff, but he deserves it more than anybody else. And I would imagine it must be the finest moment in his life, in his footballing career, 10 minutes before the final whistle.
So, yet again, Sunderland were back in the First Division. This time, they were to stay there for 5 seasons, but their record was less than thrilling. Their first season back in 80-81 started well, with a 3-1 victory over Everton.
It's Mixon again supporting. Hartford with time in the middle to have a look around. Latchford, but pressured out of it by the Sunderland defence. Buckley looking for Brown, and Brown could be on a run here. Brown's gone past McDonough, he's a long way out. Chaos in the middle of the Everton defence there, and Jim McDonough won't be happy with that one. Well, he better hurry up, or else Mr. Beck will have him in the book as well. Arnott pushing the ball through. Cummings nearly got away from Gidman. Cummings could get away from him this time, and that's a penalty. No doubt about that one from the referee. Gidman committed the offence. It was Gidman who cleared it. And when it was got back in to Stan Cummings, he turned him well, and Gidman was struggling with that on him, and down went Cummings. Hawley with the kick. That's it, 1-0 for Sunderland. John Hawley the scorer from the penalty spot. John Hawley opens Sunderland's scoring account in the First Division. The free kick is to Sunderland, which Kevin Arnott will take. Played up the line for Hawley, the goal scorer. He will have to turn Ratcliffe, which he does. He gets the cross in. Cummings, that's 2-0! Stan Cummings, the wee fellow, pops in with a header. And Everton were once again a 6s and 7s at the back. And Stan Cummings, who got so many crucial goals last season, pops in for his first goal for Sunderland in the First Division. All credit to Big Sam Allardyce. His presence up there so important. Delighted fans there, Sunderland go 2 up. Allardyce there at the back of the box, and Cummings just nipped in and into the roof of the net. Well by Buckley, Hawley's with him. Hawley times his run correctly, has he done? He's beaten the offside trap, there's a chance here, surely can he still do it? It's still on, and finally McDonough jumps on it. Oh, that one surely was gift wrapped for John Hawley.
McBride with the corner, driven across, led by Hindmarch. But it's fallen nicely. And great stop that from Billy Wright by Chris Turner. And they've beaten the offside trap. Buckley's here, Elliott's in the middle. Surely this must be number 3. Oh, how did they mess that one up? Hartford to McBride. Oh, off the post, and Lexford couldn't get onto it either. That was bad luck on McBride. Certainly Sunderland need to live a little dangerously now. It was an excellent shot back from McBride, back off the post. Nobody able to cash in on it. Lexford's got spare now, and that one's wide as well. Right. Oh my word, that could be in, and it is! Oh my word, what a terrible moment for Billy Wright. Coming to the corner, Hawley straight to McDonough. With a tackle. It's a good ball from Hartford. Eastoe the chance. Has he taken it? Yes, he has.
By the end of September, they'd only lost twice, and a 4-1 win over Leeds made it look as if the club was going places.
He had the pace then, can he square it? And Pop Robson scores for Sunderland. And that was a typical Pop Robson goal. Lurking there in the penalty area, just waiting for the little chance to pop up. Good work by Brown. And there was Robson, thank you very much. And how many goals has Pop Robson scored like that one? So we've already had a cracker goal from Sean Elliott from a free kick about this distance out. What will they try this time? Arnott in there, aim to the back of the box. Rowell, Robson. That should have been 2, and it might still be yet. Eddie Gray finally clearing it away. Oh, Pop Robson was lurking again there in that 6-yard box. But the ball just wouldn't fall for him, but it might fall for Stan Cummins now, and he's got past him. Cummins, lovely skill, Robson. It's there. Robson does it again. But what beautiful work from Stan Cummins. Look at that for a feint. Pop Robson's there. And the despair on the Leeds defence is plain to see. But Pop Robson has got another one. 14 minutes gone, and that's 2 in 3 minutes. And what help, though, he got from Stan Cummins. But it's Graham with the corner. Film arriving from the back. Flynn. Oh, we've got a deflection from Derek Parlane. Whitworth with the kick towards Alan Brown. Play on, says the referee, as Brown gets the cross in. Cherry is underneath it. Whitworth again. Allardyce a little touch. Hurd is under pressure. Hart is under pressure. Arnott's looking to get it back, and he has done. Rowell. It's in from Gary Rowell. And Gary Rowell's long wait for a goal has ended. It's 18 months since he got one. And no wonder he's delighted. It needed Kevin Arnott's skill to get the ball back into the middle. Rowell came in, and it got a little bit of a deflection off Lynn as well, I think. But that goal credited to Gary Rowell. Joe Bolton. Alan Brown looking to turn Paul Hart. He might well have done. And the speed's taken him away. Came off Brian Flynn in the middle. but Alan Brown really has got tremendous acceleration. But straight to Whitworth. There's no relief for Leeds yet. Alan Brown, chance to shoot. Oh, he's tucked that one away nicely.
But then came a slump. After that Leeds game, they were only to win 3 of their next 17 games, pushing them down into the relegation zone. In April, with 4 games still to go, Knighton and his assistant Frank Clark was sacked after disagreements with the club's new chairman Tom Cowie over team policy. Mick Doherty took temporary charge, and the club's First Division status rested on the final match of the season away to the reigning champions Liverpool. The task looked impossible. Sunderland had not won at Anfield in 20 years, but they won 1-0. Even more ironically, it didn't matter, as the other team fighting relegation, Norwich, lost and were relegated. The search was on again for a manager, and in June they turned to Alan Durban, a man who'd been successful at both Shrewsbury Town and Stoke City. Pre-season signings included a club record buy in Ali McCoist from St Johnstone. Also, the club had a complete new style strip of narrow red stripes on a white background, red shorts and socks. But it was a miserable season for both McCoist and the club, and once again relegation was avoided by a whisker. But it did see the emergence of a new young defender, Barry Venison, who scored his first goal for the club in their 3-2 win against Manchester City.
Ritchie. Now Pickering. Has impressed in possession. Ritchie's pass finding Cummins. Again, Sunderland springing men forward. And Cummins used Hinnigan as a decoy. And Stan Cummins, a bolt from the blue. To illuminate what has been a fairly turgid first half, but a fine shot that beat Joe Corrigan to the wide. 7 City players in the Sunderland area. Kevin Bond is one. And it's in. It's Francis, and that is the 150th goal of his league career. Not perhaps the most spectacular, but for Manchester City, vitally important. Francis, who has a run here against Hindmarch. In from Harida, and the header from Hartford. It needed all the height of Siddle to stop that looping in under the bar. Hartford. And Francis is onside, and makes it count. And Hartford also gets his share of the congratulations and goes across to Francis now, because this was the pass that tore Sunderland apart. Francis wasted no time, got his angles right. Ritchie with control on the chest, first time pass from Cummins, and then from Buckley. That was absolutely gilt-edged. Good work from Caton. Francis looking to feed on Hartford again. And Siddall timed his approach well and bravely. Just an inch or two off being another killer pass from Hartford. Great technique from Barry Siddall. Comes off, and 17-year-old Barry Venison, who can play at the back or in midfield, gets into the action. Here is Venison, and his first touch is a good one for Cummins, and Rowell. And Venison celebrates his part. What a substitution. Rowell gets the congratulations as the scorer. Venison. In from Cummins. And Rowell swept it in. Sunderland with 4 men forward here. One of whom is Cummins and McCoist. Here's Buckley. Sense there might be a winner in the offing here. Venison, and he's done it! The first goal in league football for Barry Venison. In truly spectacular style.
The 82-83 season saw the club again finish near the bottom in 16th place. One of the few highlights came just before Christmas when Gary Rowell scored a hat-trick against Arsenal.
Towards Worthington, got the header to it, Venison steaming into the middle. And now Worthington again with a chance to cross. Pickering is there. Pickering again with a chance maybe to set something up. Munro takes over. Chisholm looking for Venison, but intercepted by Sansom. Venison's got it back. Determined work by the youngster. Gary Rowell now. And that's a goal from Gary Rowell. Nicol towards Worthington. Cummins. And over the bar. What a goal beckoned for Stan Cummins. Venison. The ball for Pickering. Oh, so close from Nick Pickering. That really would have been a superb goal. A turn from Worthington. Pickering is running ahead of him. Here's Pickering. Oh, tipped onto the post. And Pickering again is away. By Talbot, and he gave it straight back to him, and Rowell could exploit it, and number 2 for Gary Rowell, number 2 for Sunderland. What a mess by Arsenal. Munro, and a fine run there from Pickering into the middle from Gary Rowell. Is this to be his hat-trick? It's the hat-trick for Gary Rowell. Superbly finished off, acknowledged by the crowd. The work done by Pickering, who picked out his colleague, and Gary Rowell really one to squander a chance, and not when a hat-trick beckons.
It wasn't a lot better the following season. A good third-round win against Bolton did briefly raise hopes that another FA Cup run might be on. It also saw Lee Chapman's first goal for the club.
Sunderland, who faced 3rd Division Bolton on a quagmire of a pitch at Burnden Park, were in no mood to join the casualty list of big clubs. This cross by Nick Pickering caught Bolton keeper Simon Farnworth in 2 minds, and Colin West nipped in for Sunderland's first just before the interval. Midway through the second half, Lee Chapman repaid some of his £100,000 transfer fee with a fine solo goal, his first since joining Sunderland from Arsenal last month. But Chapman's exaggerated show of delight earned him a rebuke from manager Alan Durbin after the game. With 4 minutes left, a long crossfield ball from Paul Bracewell found West free in the Bolton area. His shot was going wide, but an alert Gary Rowell was there to turn the ball in. 3-0 to Sunderland, and they'd overcome a potentially difficult hurdle with a highly competent display.
Regretfully, the bubble burst in the very next round, when they were beaten at home by Birmingham City. In March, Alan Durbin was sacked. Shortly afterwards, Len Ashurst took over as manager, but Sunderland only escaped relegation by winning at Leicester in the last match of the season. The 1984-85 season saw the arrival of Gary Bennett from Cardiff City, a player who was to become a club stalwart and eventually become captain. Also in that season, another club stalwart, defender Ruben Agbula, was signed from Southampton, and Roger Wilde from Sporting Lisbon. Wilde was only to make 8 appearances before being transferred to Barnsley. One of his 3 goals came in one of only 10 wins during the season, a 3-0 victory over Luton.
Sunderland attacked at every opportunity, and Roger Wilde just failed to open the scoring after 3 minutes. But 16 minutes into a thoroughly entertaining game, the home side took the lead. Nick Pickering winning the ball at the far post for Gordon Chisholm to ram home a low shot. It was the central defender's first goal of the season. Sunderland kept the pressure on, and only desperate defending by Luton keeper Findlay from Steve Berry, then fullback Thomas from Paul Atkinson prevented the home side from going further ahead. It wasn't all one-way traffic, and Luton striker Brian Steen might have expected a penalty here. At the other end, Sunderland continued to make things hot for Jake Findlay. This save from Roger Wilde was the best of the day. Towards the end of the first half, Luton were coming more and more into the game, and Brian Steen had plenty of time to set up this shooting chance for Gary Parker, but Chris Turner held on smartly. It was 1-0 at the interval, when the fans had a chance to salute former Roker favourite Nick Sharkey. With 8 minutes of the second half gone, he saw his old club increase their lead. Findlay blocked Atkinson's shot, but Howard Gale was tripped by Thomas, going for the rebound. A clear penalty, and Roger Wilde took full advantage. 2-0 to Sunderland, and the result surely a formality. Nick Pickering made absolutely certain 16 minutes from time. After Gale's shot was only parried, he followed up to open his goal-scoring account for the season. 3-0 the final score.
A disastrous end to the season in the league saw them finish second bottom, so once again it was back to the second division. Yet strangely, this was the season when they had their best ever run in the League Cup. After beating Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Spurs and Watford in earlier rounds, they met Chelsea in a 2-leg semi-final.
Venison. Elliott gives himself the angle for the clearance. Steve Berry, chase for Dave Hodgson. Walker coming across the box. Got a man over who's Daniel Peel for handball, and penalty has been given. It's up to Nijbeski against Colin West. Well, he went the right way. If anything, he went a little bit too soon. Westy was pulled by Jasper. Not a penalty. No question. And the man who was fouled has the chance of his second penalty. Would be his 4th of the season and could be so important. Oh, and he got a hand to it. And West following up. Poor Richard Nijbeski pushed it onto the post.
They held on to this lead at Chelsea, going through to the final with a 5-2 winning aggregate. Regretfully, here again, the one bright spot in the season was to end in disaster, with Chisholm scoring an own goal to give Norwich a 1-0 victory, after Clive Walker missed a penalty that would have taken the game into extra time.
Well, since it became the Milk Cup, this final has yet to be decided in 90 minutes. Interesting to see how the pitch fares at the start. Oh, that was no mean effort from David Hodgson. Bruce. Oh, why not? Barham, good save. Dean, up the line by the youngster, corner. Well, there's a story for you, the first of the final. Trying to get Walker away, came up and wide. Clive Walker with the first possibility really of the match. He was pulled a bit, was he? Referee has given the free kick outside the box. Walker, good strike, but over. Good play by John Dean.
it's still in. Shannon, good tackle. Oh, and it's an own goal. Came off Chisholm. Asa Hartford claiming it. But it got a deflection. And what a start to the second half, right in front of their own supporters. But here's Benison, Sunderland skipper. Handball! Definitely handball by Dennis Van Wyk. Penalty. Have it covered. The left foot going to the goalkeeper's left, but he may well have got a bit to it.
Exactly 2 months later, Len Ashurst was sacked, and it was 2 months later before it was announced that Laurie McMenemy was to leave Southampton to come back to the North East, an appointment at the time that produced great excitement.
I felt I needed a change, whatever, and it could have well been away from football, but after a while and the persistence of Tom Cowie and the tremendous challenge here and the ability to get me teeth into a thing, and I feel I've still got an achievement, a football achievement left in me, and please God it comes here in the foreseeable future.
But the expected McMenemy magic was not to be. In 1985-86, they finished in an unbelievable 18th place in the second division, just escaping relegation to the disbelief of the fans, who'd expected an instant return to the top flight. But in 1986-87, things were to get worse. In April, with 7 matches still to play, McMenemy left the club and was replaced by Bob Stokoe, whom it was hoped would be able to become the club's saviour yet again. Regretfully, they only won 2 of those matches and had to face a 2-leg playoff against 3rd Division Gillingham. In the first leg at Gillingham, Sunderland lost 3-2, so they had it all to play for in the return at Roker, and what a nail-biter it turned out to be.
Flighted ball, and it's there. Oh, Gillingham scored in the 2nd minute. And the scorer is Howard Pritchard, the Welsh international. A lovely free kick floated across from David Smith. Proctor. Kennedy wants it on the far side and gets it. Plays it forward. Gates onside. If he can get this one, he can. And it's the equaliser from Eric Gates. Sunderland 1, Gillingham 1. Lemon still with the ball. Doyle on the overlap. Lemon holds, but then is beaten, but the ball goes to Proctor. Mistake by Quo there. Good ball from Armstrong to Doyle. Across to the penalty area, Gates is there, and scores! Oh, what a beautiful goal. Armstrong, Doyle, across, found Gates perfectly, and it's Sunderland 2, Gillingham 1. 2 goals in 5 minutes for Sunderland have completely changed the picture. So Mark Proctor's gone across to take the corner. Swings the ball in. It's in there. Yes, I think it crossed the line. No, I think there's a penalty being awarded for a handball on the line. Mike Peck just instructing Kite not to move, to stand on his line still until the ball is struck. So forward comes Proctor and misses. He put the ball straight at the goalkeeper, and the keeper saved it. Paul Lemon, a determined run, gets the ball to Gates. But Gates again rather slow. He could have helped that ball on its way to the overlapping Armstrong. Instead, out comes Hesford and concedes the penalty. Oh, Hesford had no real chance, I think, of getting to that ball. He saved it. It's still not clear, and the ball eventually goes into the net. He saved it, but Gillingham got the run of the ball. It's Cascarino who I think eventually got the ball into that net. In goes Bennett. Goalkeeper fists away. It's back in, but Kite fists it over. And Greenall was there as well. So Gillingham, although they're having a lot of pressure put on them, are defending well. Proctor with the corner. 2.5 minutes left of normal time. And Sunderland must score within that time to keep the match alive. Away by Gillingham. Back in by Armstrong. Armstrong could get this again. Beats Quo in the air. Gates. Backheader for Bennett. Bennett scores! Yes, it's a goal for Sunderland. Just 2 minutes before the end of normal time. It's 3-2 and Bennett the hero. 2.5 minutes from Division 3 and Sunderland get themselves a lifeline. Over comes the corner. Corner in there. Hooked away by Proctor. And there goes the whistle. It's extra time. Sunderland have won this afternoon's match by 3 goals to 2. Just as Gillingham did in Kent on Thursday. So it's 5-5 on aggregate. And on comes Bob Stokoe. There he goes in the white mat to encourage his Sunderland boys to another 30 minutes. Quo. Elsie's cross. And it's turned in by Cascarino. The ball bobbled through the Sunderland defence and Cascarino strikes again for Gillingham. 3 minutes into the first half of extra time. Swindlehurst drives it wide for Bennett. Bennett's good header, and it's there! Oh, a tremendous goal by Sunderland. Oh, what a brilliant goal that was. And it's Keith Burchin, the man to breathe life back into Sunderland. David Smith. Pierce! Good play by the Sunderland goalkeeper. And gets the ball. One last chance for Sunderland. No, there isn't. It's Division 3. Sunderland have won 4-3 on the day, but it's Gillingham, the Kent side, who go to meet the winners of the Swindon-Wigan tie in the final of the playoff. But at least Sunderland can go off with their heads held high. They've given it all this afternoon. Nobody could have asked for more of them. To score 4 goals and not stay in the second division is heartbreak.
So the unthinkable had happened. Sunderland, for the first time in their history, were relegated to the 3rd division. 2 weeks later, Dennis Smith, then manager of York City, was persuaded to take on the challenge of leading Sunderland out of the wilderness by chairman Bob Murray. With Smith came his assistant at York, Viv Busby, and Smith had a simple message.
There's only one target whenever you come with it to any football club, and that is to improve them and get them out of the division they're in, unless you're in the 1st division, and then it's to win the championship. So if you aim for the top, if you fall just below it, it's not too bad. But I mean, I want to get number 1 next year in the 3rd division.
Well, Dennis Smith's optimism was well founded, and thankfully proud Sunderland spent only 1 season in the 3rd. Because in 1987-88, not only did they bounce back, but they did it in style. It was a long way to travel for a party, but Sunderland's army of supporters came to Port Vale to celebrate their team's remarkable revival. More than 4,000 made the journey, but Port Vale's goalkeeper threatened to spoil the occasion. Gabbiadini was close several times, and it seemed Sunderland would stay frustrated. But 12 minutes from time, the deadlock was broken. Armstrong's corner was flicked on. Eric Gates made no mistake. It was the signal for amazing scenes of celebration on the terraces and on the pitch. This is what they'd waited for. The party had begun. Manager Dennis Smith had staked his job on winning promotion at the first attempt. He couldn't hide his jubilation. He'd picked up the tattered remains left by Laurie McMenemy. This was his moment, and he savoured every second.
Obviously absolutely delighted. For the players and the fans, who are absolutely brilliant, I'm delighted for all of them. After what they had went through the last couple of years, to get this for them is superb.
it's all just awards throughout the season. We've worked hard and we are the champions, and we deserve to be champions of this third division.
But the final match at home against Northampton put the icing on the cake, with many fans arriving at the ground 3 hours early to make sure they could pay their tribute. Before the kick-off, every member of the Sunderland squad gets the chance to savour the carnival atmosphere. Sunderland had learnt they'd clinched the title before the game. Nearly 30,000 fans, the North East's biggest this season, eagerly await the kick-off. Northampton must have felt like spectres at the feast. They were playing for a place in the promotion playoffs. A win would guarantee that. They certainly weren't at Roker Park to join in the party. In fact, they almost spoilt it after just 7 minutes. Paul Culpin forcing a fine save from Ian Hesford. But on the half-hour, Sunderland took the lead. Eric Gates was brought down by Paul Wilson. Northampton protested their innocence. Gates stayed down to make the point. John MacPhail scored his 10th consecutive penalty. But just 8 minutes later, Northampton put the champagne on ice. Tony Adcock equalising with an opportunist goal. Their glimmer of hope was short-lived though. Just 3 minutes into the second half, Gabbiadini set up Gordon Armstrong. 2-1 to Sunderland. It was Armstrong in the thick of things soon after, but Gates' shot though was well saved. Not to be denied though, Eric Gates put the game beyond doubt in the 73rd minute. Sunderland are crowned champions of Division 3. The gloom left by Laurie McMenemy's reign is finally lifted. There's a smile again at Roker Park. Marco Gabbiadini, who Smith had shrewdly bought for a bargain £80,000 from his old club York, scored 22 league and cup goals during that championship season. By the end of 1989-90, he'd scored a total of 70 and gained an England B cap. But their first term back in the second division was undramatic, with the club having to settle for 11th place, despite some good wins during the season.
Good control from Whitehurst. Lays it off to Ours. That's King challenging. Whitehurst again. Back to Ours. And that was a fine piece of skill by Ours. And it's there! Yes! Yes, it's a goal for Sunderland in the 20th minute. To Doyle, first time flick. Whitehurst just leaves it for Pascoe, but the danger partially snuffed out. Good battling there by Gabbiadini, keeps the pressure on. Whitehurst with the touch to Doyle. Doyle across first time. And it's there from Gabbiadini. It's 2-0, Marco Gabbiadini. Whitehurst waiting for it with Parkin. He's got there, and he scored! Oh, yes, indeed. The ball back on the left wing now. Holds it, allowing Armstrong to overlap on the left, but he's overrun that ball, or the ball's over on him. But Doyle keeps on the pressure, finds Armstrong. Armstrong with the cross to the far post, it's 4! Gabbiadini makes it 4. A lovely Armstrong cross in the 81st minute. So it's Armstrong with the corner. curls the ball in, McPhail up there, headed away, it's coming back towards Armstrong. Owers gives it back to Armstrong. Owers back in, Knight coming for it, Bennett there, he's missed it, goalkeeper missed it, but it was cleared. Now Gabbiadini can catch this, squares it back, Gates scores! Yes, Sunderland deservedly take the lead. Armstrong and Doyle, the two men closest, Gray lurking just behind. It's played wide to Owers. Owers gets there, chips it forward, and Gates makes it two. Agboola again, Gates. Oh, what a great turn. Armstrong makes it three. Gates. Oh, this could be another chance for Sunderland, but hesitation there, but the ball should be played back, or what's happened? Oh, yes! Pascal! But Ward will have to chase hard to stop it. Does so. Plays it forward towards Gabbiadini. Battling all the way, and it's a penalty against Lenigan! David Lenigan concedes a penalty. So it's Marco Gabbiadini against Ron Fearon, which he scores from. It's Sunderland 1, Ipswich Town 0. Marco Gabbiadini's 19th goal of the season. Zondervan tries to slot it through for Milton, but good play by Frank Gray. Oh, good turn by Pascal. Good early ball for Gabbiadini. There's only Hauser in the penalty area though. He cuts it back. Hauser's there, but Hauser overhead into the penalty area. Lemon can't get there. Owers can, Gabbiadini, Owers, great shot! The goal for Sunderland from Gary Owers. Good challenging by Gabbiadini, and Gabbiadini could be away, across comes Lenigan, beaten and it scores! Oh, what a wonderful goal by Marco Gabbiadini. It's come towards Gabbiadini again, no touch here. This time it's for 1-2 with Gates, Gabbiadini, and the penalty brought down by Fearon. The referee quite right in not wanting to get involved in arguments. Well saved, but it's back with Gabbiadini. Nothing Ron Fearon could do about that. That's unlucky, and Gabbiadini I think is going in there, whereas he should have really have run away from it and celebrated. Gates doing his best to keep things under control, and Gabbiadini could well be joining Gray and Armstrong for Sunderland in the referee. Oh, he's off! He's been sent off.
But among all the strange things that have befallen this club over its 100 years, its promotion back into Division 1 in time to celebrate its centenary year was most amazing, and one that will be talked about for years to come. Mind you, that shouldn't detract from the fact that they played some attractive football too. Two games in particular stood out, against Watford and West Ham.
Sunderland being forced across the field though instead of forward, but that's a good ball to find Agboola. Pascal swerves the ball in, and that's a good header. Oh, it's at the post and it's there. Sunderland have scored. Oh yes. The chance looked to have gone when that ball hit the bar, but Gordon Armstrong was there for the rebound. That's towards Armstrong, manages to get the header in and find Gates. That was good play. Now Gates into the area for Pascal. Pascal to Gabbiadini. Yes! Oh, a brilliant goal by Marco Gabbiadini. A typical Marco strike. Too high for Gates. Bracewell's touch. Armstrong. Now, yes, Gabbiadini. Yes! Oh, brilliant piece of Gabbiadini play. An opportunist goal if ever there was one, but that's the way Marco plays. Agboola looking for Gabbiadini. The ball breaks towards Gabbiadini, and that's Gabbiadini's hat-trick.
I'd scored a hat-trick previously the season before against Ipswich, but As most of us know, got sent off after that, so that spoilt that a little bit. Plus there was 2 penalties really that went towards it, whereas that's like 3 fairly good goals, and I thought the first one was very good move, leading up to it as well. And it's just nice to get a proper hat-trick.
Now a chance for West Ham to break forward. Played inside, or the deflection there, it comes to Slater. Yes, it's a goal, it counts. I thought for a moment Trelford Mills had disallowed that, but he hasn't. Yes! It's Brady with his first goal for Sunderland. Kieran Brady. It was only a half chance, but my goodness, didn't he take it well? This is a good move by West Ham. The ball played across, and it's there. It's headed in. Quinn again. Now, McPhail. Great turn by Brady. And again, still going. Penalty. Sunderland have the penalty. A brilliant run by Kieran Brady. That's just the sort of run that does cause defenders worry, concern, trouble. And that's what happened. Stuart Slater, with an illegal challenge on Brady, creates the Sunderland penalty. So just 2 minutes after West Ham took the lead for the second time in the match, Sunderland have the chance to draw level. The responsibility lies with Paul Hardyman, and he accepts it in the best possible manner. Pascal finding Brady. Good cross by Brady, brilliant cross, yes! Gary Howers makes it 3-2, and again Kieran Brady setting up that goal. Now Brady, round Paris for the umpteenth time, still has it. Knocked forward for Gabbiadini. Gabbiadini tricks his man, he's in the penalty area, still going, and scores! Yes, a brilliant individual goal by Marco Gabbiadini. Allen looks for the 1-2 with Brady, and there it is. It's Trevor Morley pulling another goal back for West Ham.
But in the end, Sunderland finished 6th and had to rely on the playoffs to see if they'd be competing in the First Division in time to celebrate their centenary year. And things were looking good when they went to St James's and beat Newcastle in the second leg of the semi-finals.
John Kay with the throw. Owers. Chance here for Gates, and Gates has scored! Eric Gates shoots Sunderland into the lead, and that's a very important goal indeed. Hoists it towards that 6-yard box. Oh, they've missed it. Chance here. McGee will score. Blocked by Norman. Quinn can't get it under control. Headed out again. Aitken to Quinn. Bennett got above him. This is Paul Bracewell. Good ball for Gabbiadini. Gabbiadini deciding to have a run at Scott, getting past him. Burridge has stayed on his line. Oh, and a deflection there. Burridge did well to recover. So Ruben Agbula, who made over 100 appearances for Southampton, knocks in the free kick. Met by Anderson. Gates, nice touch to Gabbiadini. There's the cross. Stimson's there. It must be a goal. Oh, Stimson did well to recover. And Gary Howers can't believe it. Agbula's header. Warren Hawke beginning to find a little more space on this side as Newcastle commit more bodies to the attack. Gabbiadini now. Gates. Gabbiadini. A chance here for him to sew it up, and he's done that. 5 minutes left for play. The Gates-Gabbiadini combination works. And Sunderland are surely on their way to Wembley.
Regretfully, they lost the playoff final against Swindon at Wembley, never playing anywhere near their potential. That's when fate took a hand and the arguments started. Swindon were not allowed by the Football League to take their place in Division 1 because of misdemeanours by the previous management of the club. Instead, they decided Sunderland, as runners-up in the playoff final, should be promoted. There were protests from other clubs, including Newcastle United, who'd finished third in the division. But the league remained firm, and Sunderland took their place in Division 1 in time for their centenary year.